What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Pizza Bagels. That feels so empty because Tomboy's out sick today. But I'm not by myself. Today, our old pal Aaron is here. What's up, Aaron?
How you guys doing?
Super stoked about this. It was really funny, like when we were hanging out at the bar and Tomboy was talking to you, and then he's like, "Hey, do you know what Aaron does?" And I was like, "I don't." And then you told me, and I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, we gotta fucking get you on, dude."
Well, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, dude, I'm stoked that you can make it on. So I guess, before I kind of dive into everything, is when I was kind of like looking up a little bit, is it a memorial masonry? Is that what you're?
Yeah, it's called a monument company. Well, we're called a monument company.
Okay.
But it's granite masonry.
Okay.
We make headstones.
Okay, which is fucking fascinating.
Yes.
So, and how long have you been doing it for?
Just over 2 years.
Okay, and you liking it so far?
Yeah.
Okay. How did you actually get into this? Because I feel like this is a pretty like unique job. Like, you know, usually like, oh, what do you do for a living? I do real estate. I work for construction, whatever. It's not often you come across someone who goes, oh, I engrave headstones.
It's easier to say I make headstones.
Okay, make headstones.
Yeah,
so are you actually like?
I was.
Okay.
So I was engraving them.
Okay.
So for the past year, I was engraving them.
Okay.
But now I deliver them.
Okay.
So, yeah. So now I deliver them. I did engrave them. So I'm still in the production area of the business.
Okay.
But I actually lucked out to get the job by just answering an online ad.
For real?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like you actually like went into a place or like had a cousin or it was like, hey man, I can get you a job.
No, it wasn't like I knew somebody there at all. I just answered an Indeed ad for a job, and then a couple weeks later, I had a job.
Damn, that's sick.
Yeah.
Did they make you go through like any sort of like apprenticeship or like, or was it just regular, just like in-house training or whatever?
Just regular in-house training.
Okay.
They start you out with just cleaning and matting the stones.
Okay.
So when we get a stone, it comes through the sales portion of the shop, the front office.
Uh-huh.
And then they will design on a I'd say it's about maybe a half-inch thick piece of, it's matting paper.
Okay.
So it sticks right on top of the granite stone.
Okay.
You peel a layer off the back of it, and then it has a sticky layer on, and then you just roll it on. You roll it on from right to left, matching it up with the bottom of the stone. And then once that's done, the design, you just pluck the design out of the matting paper, and then it sits on top of that stone, and then we put it in the blasting machine, and then it blasts the engraving onto the stone.
Dude, that's fucking cool. Because like, so it's kind of like it's like the template that you kind of have on there, but like it's kind of like, do you have any tattoos?
I don't have any tattoos.
Okay, so I don't know if you've ever sat in with like a friend or something when they're getting tattoos done, but it kind of, I think, works the same. Like when they have like your drawing of what they're going to get tattooed, then they put it through like a machine, and then they have this paper where they stick it to you, and then they peel it off, and it kind of has like a little, the outline of everything, and then they kind of go and work with it. So it kind of works the same way?
In a sense, yeah, it works the same way. So like once the matting paper's on, the matting paper sticks out above, like I said, maybe a quarter of an inch or so above the stone.
Okay.
So when the sand hits the stone, it's hitting that paper into the stone, and so it's protected where the paper is. So the part of the stone that the paper is covered won't get any like sand on it as long as it's put on properly.
Okay.
And there's no like air bubbles, things like that. Because when you run into problem with air bubbles is like so much air gets behind there. And then it could pop, and then air gets behind there, and then sand gets behind the paper just rattles. And then you take the paper off, and you just have little tiny specks.
That's what I was going to ask, if it's just kind of like scuffing like the face of that stone.
Yeah, and then it could be a pain to fix.
Okay, so like you basically, you have like a machine that's kind of doing all of like the blasting or carving or whatever.
Yeah, so once a stone has the matting paper on it, you flip it up vertical. So you put the matting paper on horizontal, then you flip it up vertical. So either if you can do it manually, which on a 2-foot stone, which is the normal size stone you see most of the times in cemeteries, just
like the flat ones that are in the ground,
the small flat ones.
Okay,
small flat flushes. They're normally 2 feet. those ones are easy if you're strong enough to just kind of flip with your upper body and you flip it up on top of a little metal rack,
Mm-hmm.
and then it slides right into the blasting booth. And then literally all on the blasting booth, all you do is you just, and at least on our blasting booth, you set the top left and then you set the top right. And then depending upon how deep you want to go, you set how many passes you go.
Okay.
And then it's so intricate because different color stones have different pass numbers.
Okay.
So depending upon, like a black stone, you might have to go 18 to 20 passes, depending upon the design. So if you want a black stone with a deeper engraving, deeper length on the letters and numbers and the design, you have to go more passes.
Okay.
Just because it's a thicker, denser stone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So.
So when it comes in, like, I imagine like the family, they have already what they want. The epitaph, is that the right phrase for that? You know, like whatever they have, like the, where it's like, oh, was a beloved like father and husband,
Yes.
you know, and
yes. So they'll sit down with the design specialist.
okay,
Way before. I mean, this can take a year, 2 years sometimes, depending upon the stone and the
Wow.
design of the stone. Like I said, it's a very intricate process because depending upon how large the stone is, because you know, most people have been out to cemeteries, they see the large monuments.
mm-hmm,
So the larger the stone is, that's what we call monuments. So the big ones are what we call monuments.
okay,
And then the little tiny ones that go in the ground, we call flush markers.
okay,
So flush markers are easier because we have the stock in the warehouse
mm-hmm,
majority of the time, unless it's a special orderly color.
okay,
But when a customer comes in, a family comes in, they'll sit down with the design specialist. They'll go through the computer system that we have, and they'll design it on the computer of what they want the front of the stone to look like.
okay,
Then they'll bring the family back into the shop. Majority of the time, they'll show them the stone. They'll show them the process of what we do. And a lot of times, the families will come and pick their actual stone out, and then they mark their name on it, and then we put it in a special place in our warehouse so we know where it's at.
yeah,
So that's a cool process for the family.
yeah, that's neat. So then, like, when you're saying it's going to take like a year or two, is that if it's specially ordered, or
Yeah.
you guys are just backed up that far? Because I mean,
when it takes-
business is booming for, you know, when it comes to death. So
Yeah, well, it's never going out of style.
Yeah.
It's always booming, and it's never going out of style. So
Yeah.
it can take, if you have the special, depending, especially when it's a large stone. When we have those monuments, we have to specially order those precise cuts of stone. So that could take up to a year, depending upon where the stone's coming from. We order stones from India, Japan, Canada.
So you guys have like a catalog that they can kind of pick through on like what kind of stones, or I guess this is probably more on the design team, I would imagine.
Yeah,
So I don't know how much info you know on their end of it.
I know enough to get by to talk to people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know the intricacies of it.
Yeah.
But I do know that we have set colors, and depending upon the colors, where it comes from within the world.
Okay.
So, like, a lot of our gray stones come from Georgia and China. And then we'll have black stones that come from Africa. Black stone comes from China, and then maybe Canada. I can't remember. But I know Africa and China also have black stones. So it all depends upon where the quarry is, where we're purchasing it from,
Mm-hmm.
and what color that quarry is mining at the time.
Neat. And then, so you guys already have? Do you guys keep stock of like blank stones at the warehouse?
Another thing about us, we're the largest wholesale granite distributor east of the Mississippi River.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we have, and I have a picture on my phone, but standing on top of a truck, and it's just granite, piles of granite, for as long as the eye can see.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we constantly get shipments in from India, China, different places, but we're constantly rotating stock. So it's never, except for in the wintertime, it tends to pile up a little bit.
Sure.
Just because we're not turning over and delivering stones in the winter.
Yeah.
Because
go on.
It is Cleveland, so
Yeah. Yeah. We just had a guest on like a few weeks ago, and he was a like a maintenance guy for cemeteries.
Okay.
And so we kind of discussed a little bit on like, how hard the ground is that like bodies have to be like stored, until like the ground is soft enough for them to actually dig up when it's like winter.
Right.
So like I can only imagine you're probably going through the same thing. You can't do anything until the ground is soft enough or the body's in and what have you. So,
well, what we run into as the people who actually deliver and set the monuments, we run into a lot of them have to have foundations.
okay.
So the base of the stone, when you see like an upright stone, an upright monument,
Mm-hmm.
there's actually a foundation that's actually concrete that's poured into the ground.
Yep. He did explain a little bit of that.
Yeah. So and depending upon which cemetery, so like around here, a lot of the Catholic cemeteries, they like to pour their own. But a lot of the individual cemeteries you see that might not have constantly people there
Uh-huh.
will have to go and pour the foundation. So
Gotcha.
we have other guys that go out and do that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we have to wait for the ground to thaw.
Yep.
We can't do it like the last week and a half. We've had nothing but rain here.
Yeah.
So we couldn't get them
so
as much.
soft.
Yeah, so the foundations couldn't be poured, or depending upon the size of the monument, we might not be able to deliver it when we unfortunately told the family that, hey, it's going to be out there this Thursday.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, it just rained for 4 days. We can't, and it's me and another guy out on deliveries.
Mm-hmm.
We're only so strong.
Right.
So say it's a 2,000-pound monument. We're not dragging that
Of course.
in wet, clumpy grass.
Yeah.
Especially when
Just
it's
destroy everything.
right. And so we have to wait until it's dry, and especially if it's too heavy, we'll have to back the truck up right to the side of the
Yep.
grave site, and then just crane it from our truck right onto the site.
Mm-hmm.
So it's intricate. There's little details. I'm still learning. This family's been doing it since 1965, I believe.
Okay.
It's a family-owned business. They've been in business since 1965. So they as a family know all the intricacies, and they've been running.
They're doing it a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that sucks too when you can't promise that like that delivery. It's
Right.
like not only are they already upset that their family member died, but now they're also disappointed like
Yeah.
that they have to wait longer for
Right.
the headstone.
And like I said before, they could have already been waiting a long time.
Yeah. So, I don't know if I sidetracked us at all, but I tend to do this on the show sometimes, but I'm usually pretty good at rewinding it back. But if you already have like stock already in there, they're not having to wait like that year-long thing, are they?
No.
Or are you just like doing them in order by they've come in?
Yeah. So as this weirdly as it sounds, we'll make it. So if they order, they come in just a stock piece.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of what we're doing right now are actually people that are purchasing, and we're making them before they're even passed away.
Okay.
So
So that seems like the smart move to do. If
Yeah.
you're already like, hey, let's buy our space, I guess, if you so to speak, but like,
Yeah.
and then we'll have our stones already made. So when it comes time to,
Yep.
hey,
And some folks, they like to have them installed before they're passed away. So they're already at
Oh.
So like today we delivered what we call a pre-need. It's nobody on the stone has passed away yet. But we're still delivering it out to the cemetery.
yeah, so it's already said and done. So they all have to do is dig the hole and then
Yeah. So whether
lower
they,
the body. Yep.
and sometimes they put them in right away. If the family has wanted that stone already in the ground before they pass away,
Mm-hmm.
they'll put it right in the ground for them.
Yeah.
And then they'll just go out, and whether it's just an etching, they'll take we'll either pick it up, or we'll take a mobile unit out there and then just etch it right there as it's in the ground.
Interesting. Oh man, I didn't even think about that. And then so if they're etching it there in the ground, I mean, this is old school style, yeah.
Yeah. So they'll take a generator, just pull it right up to the gravesite and put the gear on, so you're not getting sand and everything
All the
on
dust,
the
yeah.
dust and everything on your skin. And yeah, they'll just engrave it right there graveside.
Huh.
So yeah.
Interesting. That never even like crossed my mind because I mean like obviously before we had like the technology to fucking just put it in a blaster, you know what I mean, which
Yeah.
makes everyone's life a lot easier. Of course you had to do things like old school style, and it never even occurred to me that there's having to do it right there, like on site.
So, do you enjoy going to cemeteries?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you ever been in a cemetery and looked around, especially in the older section, and you see these big monuments?
Yeah.
You ever just wonder yourself, like 100 years ago, how did they get that there?
Oh God, yeah.
Because like we use a crane, and I don't know how some of these monuments we get done without this crane.
Oh yeah.
So like the fact that 100 years ago they were just, I don't know if they used horses, I don't know what they used, but to get, and you could see like we go to Lakeview a lot.
Okay.
And so some of these massive pieces in
Mhm.
Lakeview, I just sit there and we'll be driving past them. I'm like, how in the heck did they get that up there?
Yeah. It is quite amazing to think about because you're right. They probably did use horses and have some sort of pulley system,
Yeah.
whether it's just throwing rope over a branch, you know what I mean, and having the horses pull to like lift it, and then guys guiding it to its point, and then backing the horses up, something along those.
Well, they probably weren't waiting a year or two to get these things done. They were probably waiting like 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
No, maybe even longer than that to get these pieces in.
Right, and then if I imagine also taking it even back further, they're just like, this is, it's nothing great. It's just a fucking stone. But I mean, when you have those giant monument ones
Right.
you're talking about, yeah, those are probably like, hey, this is what I'm going to want. Put it all together now. I understand it's going to take years to do it. Just get started now, so we're ready to go.
But what I've noticed since I've started working this job is that a lot of the big pieces you see that are older, it's actually just the family name. So it's just
Yeah.
actually the family name, and then as you get around it, you have the individual. You have mom, you have dad, you have
Yeah.
son, daughter, grandma, grandpa, whoever it is, and so they have the smaller stones around it.
Mhm.
So they only have the
Just
big one
just
for the
family name.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. I never thought there was this much intricacy into all of it.
Neither did I, and that's why when Tomboy and you guys were talking, I go, this is why I want to bring you on, because it's things like this that people have this as a job, right? But like you just don't ever think about
No.
that this is somebody's job, and B, what goes into it to fucking to make it all happen.
Yeah, and like people drive past our spot every day.
Uh-huh.
Like I'll tell people where I work, and they're like, "Oh, where's that at?" And I'll say, "Oh, right across the street from Holy Cross." They're like, "I know where that's at." I said, yeah, if you've ever driven down Brook Park Road, you know exactly where we're at.
Yeah.
Like we're right across the street. But yeah, most people don't think about it until, unfortunately, it is time to think about it.
Sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and nobody wants to talk about it when you have to talk about it.
Right, of
So-
course. Now, you said before that you were etching in first for a while, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then basically they're just kind of coming up with the families deciding whatever the, obviously like name and date of birth and death date. And like sometimes I've noticed that there's like some sort of crazy design, whether it's just something like artsy or fancy or whatever. Are the things like that, or is just probably something that's just maybe already in the system, or do you think that they have their own designs? I guess it could probably maybe be either, huh?
It could be anything.
Yeah.
Um,
Have you come across any like ones that were like, well, this is kind of weird, or even like something like, because like sometimes they have sayings on them too. Do you come across anything weird?
I have. The first time I ran across somebody that they had their animal pet on their stone with them.
Okay.
That was a little weird. The
So
first
was
time-
it like an etch of like their face, like with like their pet, kind of like a photo almost?
No, it was their name on the left side
Oh.
and their pet name on the right side.
Oh, so you're saying like, oh, like their pet name
No, like their
or their
pet,
their
like,
actual pet's
their
name.
actual
Oh,
pet. Like so I assume that their pets were buried
buried
them.
with them.
Yeah, so that was weird. The first time I saw it, now it's kind of just normal.
Okay.
Because I've been there for 2 years now, so
Yeah.
I'm starting to see a lot more of the same repeat things. and-
Yeah. It's like, geez, come up with something new. God.
yeah, but there are some intricate designs.
Yeah.
Like, and I love our salespeople. I really do. But you can tell sometimes they've never been on the production side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you get intricate designs and then you try to put it on a small stone. It's like, that's not going to work.
Do you ever have to like call them up and go, yo, you got to call them and tell them like this isn't.
I would go to my boss and say, hey, you got to go to the salesperson. You got to go to the salesperson and say, like, you got to change this design. Because when you're in the blasting booth, the smaller the piece, the more it might blow out. So if you have like small, intricate designs of little small pieces, when that sand's hitting it repeatedly, there's not enough strength behind that small piece for it to stick there and stay.
Yep. And then it just blows out.
And then it just blows out. And then depending upon the design, it could take me 45 minutes to do one stone. If I have to fix that one piece, it may take a day and a half. Because I have to take another piece of the stone, I have to go to the grinder, have to grind it down into a workable piece. Then I have to make sure that piece fits in space. Then I have to make sure if it's a round piece, I have to make sure it's perfectly rounded. So depending upon the piece that you're trying to put in, and you're talking about 1/8 of an inch sometimes, like of things that you have to, just place in there, and then you have to let it sit. Then you have to glue it down. Then you have to sprinkle granite powder around it, and then let it set with super glue, and then. So it's when they blow out, it's not.
It's a whole fucking thing.
It's not fun. It's not fun. And bless my old boss Andrew. He helped me out a lot last year. Like we had this Chinese lettering piece, and I don't know how familiar you are with Chinese lettering, but when you condense it down and you're trying to blast it into a stone, you have those little like square pieces, and I'm not good on the Chinese alphabet, but
yeah, like they're like the characters. I think they're called.
Yeah, and so you have a little square inside of like that, and then that little square blows out, and then you have a little piece here that blows out, and it's just like, why can't you just make a bigger stone? Just put it on a bigger stone. Give them the discount. Put it on a bigger stone. Help me out. Come on.
Help me help you.
Yeah.
Have you ever come across a time? Sorry, go ahead. Feel free to have have you ever come across a time where like you accidentally maybe misspelled someone's name or a wrong date or something along those lines?
Oh yeah, it happens.
Okay.
It happens. Unfortunately, I've done my fair share of them.
Okay.
Because when you're going through, you're going over the paperwork, you're looking at the stone, you're going over the paperwork, you're looking at the stone. So of course, in time, especially if there's a lot of lettering, you might miss something.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be just a period at the if you're like March, MAR dot, like you might miss that dot.
Oh
or
yeah.
Like if you're looking over a longer last name and say it has a couple L's in a row, well, you might miss one of those. You know what I mean? So it's different things like that. So you really do have to pay attention.
Yeah.
Now, depending upon what that mix-up is, could be a relatively easy fix. So like I said, I just gave the example of missing a period at the end of March.
Easy.
That's easy. You just reprint MAR, and then you just pluck out the period, and then just place it on top of the stone where that piece is.
Yeah.
And then just mat around it, and then you put it back in the blaster, and you're done.
Yep.
But if you're missing letters, it could get complicated. So like I said, it's a growing thing when you're trying to learn to do this. So it's unfortunately the only way you learn is by trial and error.
Yeah.
It's not one of those things where you're gonna be like, hey, let's play on a computer and test this out. It's not that type of job where you can just say, hey, I'm gonna go over here and test my knowledge and test my play and that kind of thing. No, you actually have to do it. You actually have to engrave the stone. You actually have to put it in the booth, and
So for example, I guess if you're like you're saying earlier, if you end up missing one of those L's, then you go, fuck.
Yeah.
So which means you have to get another stone and do it over again?
Could be if we can't figure out a way to get it done on that stone. Yeah.
Right.
We have to pick out a new stone and start
right.
the process over.
So let me ask you this. If you fuck up one that you had to order, right, and that took you however long to get delivered, and you fuck up the stone, you're going to have to order another stone?
Yeah, it's happened before.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we had a white It was white. I don't know if it was marble or if it was granite. I can't remember if it was marble or granite, but it was white. Like, gorgeous white color.
Sure.
And that's not a color we keep in stock.
Okay.
It's a very special, like a special color.
Yeah.
And it was not a small piece. It was probably almost the size of this table.
Okay.
If not a little bit bigger.
This is huge.
Yeah. So it was not a small piece.
No.
And we had gotten it through the whole process, blasted it, everything. The gentleman that cleans everything, he was rolling it so he had just painted the lettering on it, and he's rolling it to clean it. Well, one of the rollers on the line decided it wanted to get stuck.
Oh, no.
So he's pushing it. Well, it doesn't go anywhere. And so he just pushes it, and then it falls right off the line.
Oh, my God. So it just fucking broke?
Oh, yeah. The top. And it was rounded on the top. So the top of it there was a baseball chunk missing out of the roundness.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so they had to completely reorder that.
Damn. And then that sucks, too, because the company's just going to have to eat that cost.
Yeah.
I can imagine they're not cheap.
No.
Damn.
Stones like that are not cheap. No. So
But there's got to be some sort of insurance on there, right?
yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, if you're going to be in the headstone business, you got to be like,
I'm sure
accidents are going to happen.
Yes, I'm sure there's things that are built into the price, overall price, like through the year, different things that they do that because it's their business, they know how to do it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there's safe fails that are built into it because it'll happen.
Yeah.
Like, just don't make sure it doesn't happen on a regular basis.
Well, of course.
But, yeah.
Then your fucking ass is out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, if it doesn't happen it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my big thing is when I fuck up, I stop what I'm doing and I go tell somebody.
Yeah.
Because I am not going to be that person that tries to
slip it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to slip that through. Nope. I'm going to find
instantly telling on myself.
Hey, come here. Hey, look, I just fucked this up. This is what I fucked up. This is why I probably fucked it up.
Help me fix it. Yeah.
How do we fix it? Can we fix it? We can't fix it? Okay, I'm sorry.
Has there anyone that you guys have etched that has slipped past your guys' radar, made it to the family, and they go, what the fuck is this? You forgot this letter, or you flipped letters around, or something along those lines. Some sort of fuck up.
Not all the way to the family, per se, but we'll get it all the way. 2 weeks ago, we had one get it all the way to the cemetery. Like, we were delivering it.
And
some, like, a lot of the big cemeteries around here, we'll have to check in with the cemetery. And so a representative will come out to the truck and just give a glance once over.
Make sure before you fucking take the time to take it off the truck and all that.
And then put it where it's going in the cemetery or taking it back to the service shop, wherever we're delivering it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the guy from the cemetery found it. He's like, that one's messed up. Yeah, so, and I'm looking and I'm like, and it's at least 6 people. By the time it gets to the truck on delivery, it's at least 6 people in the shop that have looked at it, touched it,
Holy
done something
shit.
with it. Nobody caught it.
Whoops.
And I like to tell him myself, though. I was one of those people.
Uh-huh. Like, I was one of those 6.
I was one of those 6. But like I said before, like, when you're trying to, especially when we get into the spring months, and we're trying to just get stones through the process and through the line to get, because like I said, these families could have been waiting.
Yeah.
Especially over the wintertime when we can't go out and deliver. So we just kind of stack up stuff in the wintertime, and then once spring comes, we hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Like from March to November, we're busy people.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, as a company, I'm not allowed to take a day off in May or November.
And
like,
those 2 months specifically?
Those 2 months specifically.
Those are the booming months.
Yeah, because like we were talking about before, foundations.
Yeah.
By May, especially around here, that's prime. Start getting foundations in the cemeteries in. Yeah, so as a company, we're not allowed to take a day off in May or November. In November, it's because we're about to hit the frozen ground.
Yeah.
And so we have to get everything that we can get delivered out to the cemeteries by the end of about mid to the 3rd week of November.
So no call-offs, no vacations in those months.
No.
Well, listen, we just hit June, bud. So
I'll be busy.
You finally got it. Now you're able to take a day off.
But these are also the overtime hour months, so
fair enough.
Not taking time off if I don't have to.
No, yeah, absolutely. You might as well get it in while
Yeah.
the good's getting.
Yes.
I think that's how they say it, right?
Getting
Getting it while
in-
the
Getting in while the something like that.
goods.
Something like that.
Well, here's cheers since we're halfway
Cheers.
through, and now you can start taking vacation days off. So cheers to that.
Cheers.
Now when you guys order the stones, are they just coming in like blocks, and you guys have to shape them, or do you guys order them as they're already shaped?
Everything's already shaped.
Okay.
The only way that we will reshape a stone is if we run out of stock. So say we have a 3-foot flush stone that we need made, and we don't have any more. So say it's gray, and we don't have any more 3-foot gray ones.
Yep.
We'll take a 4-footer and knock a foot off of it.
Okay.
But that's a rarity.
Yeah.
Like those are special that we have to do majority of the time, especially if it's gray and on the flush stones, we have the stock because we're constantly, like I said before, we're constantly getting in stock from different places.
Well, and then now you said you're on the delivery side of
Yes.
things, right? And you're not really etching anymore, or is it kind of
No.
back and forth? Okay.
No, I'm especially now that it's summertime, I'm completely delivering.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not in the production side of it right now at all. Maybe come wintertime it'll change again, but they needed somebody that because these are, especially when you get into the big monuments as we were talking about before,
Yeah.
you have to have two people that trust each other.
Okay.
Because if you're not paying attention, you literally could kill yourself.
Yeah, I can
Because-
imagine those things are fucking heavy.
You have a 1,500-pound stone swinging at your head.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the other day when I was getting out of the truck, I turned around and whacked my head on the side view mirror. Like, that wasn't even a 15-pound stone. I literally just got out of the truck and just turned around and started walking and right into the side of the truck.
Do you prefer to do the production side or like the delivery side?
I'm preferring the delivery side.
Okay.
It gets me out of the shop. It gets me out to these cemeteries. And it gives, at least for myself, it gives myself a sense of like, I'm giving this family closure. Because they're finally getting this stone like to the cemetery.
Yes, that's got to feel good.
Yeah, it does. And yeah, it's just, I enjoy the delivering part of it. It's
a little more labor wise, but again,
Yeah.
you get to be outside too,
Yeah.
especially when you have nice days.
yeah. Last week sucked. Like as we were talking about the rain before.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, yeah, it's been rough.
Those 2 straight days when it was like monsoons. 2
Mhm.
straight days. Yeah,
Yep.
I was outside.
Oh no,
The one day,
because you're making a delivery either way, right?
Oh yeah,
Rain or shine.
yep, yeah. If it's going that day, especially like with the flush markers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cemeteries we just drop them off at the service garage and then they install them into the ground. They they cut the hole and things like that. So yeah, a lot of the times we still have to drop those flush markers off.
Yeah.
And say we're going to a place called Cleveland, which we're actually going to tomorrow, Cleveland Memorial Gardens.
Okay.
Like tomorrow, it's a light load and we're taking 12 stones. Like I've taken up to 25 stones to this one cemetery.
Wow.
And that cemetery, we drop them off at graveside. They'll put them into the ground, but we'll drop them off graveside.
Okay.
And I could be walking 50, 100 feet from the truck, depending upon where it's at in these, in the cemetery.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's wet and it's raining, and my sweatshirt, I literally had 15 pounds of wet weight on me. Like my sweatshirt was soaked.
Yeah.
I mean, we were soaked to the core, but yeah, our sweatshirts were completely soaked.
That's just got to be. It's such an awful feeling. I get it, just in the sense of like when I was younger, doing like landscaping, right? And then you like driving to the next job, and it starts drizzling. You're like, I don't know. Do we get out and try to hurry up and do it before the storm comes,
Yeah.
and then you get there and it's just downpouring, or you just get out and you're just like, it's a very fuck situation.
Yeah, and as we're driving around, we can gauge it. Like sometimes we're like, oh, okay, we got like 15 minutes of like bad rain. Let's just sit in the truck for 15 minutes and just wait for the rain to pass.
Yep.
Like again, I'll use last week for example. Like there was no dodging that rain last week because it was from 8 a.m. to the end of the night.
Yep.
Like, so there was no getting around it. we just had to go out and get everything done. And we actually had to set monuments last week in the rain,
Yeah,
which is
so you're
not
like
fun.
you have to.
Yeah, you just have to do it. And which the tricky part is when you're setting one of those large monuments, it can't get wet. Like it's not supposed to get wet underneath it. So like when we go in, when you see a monument, so you see like what we call raised bevel, which it has the incline on the front, flat on the back. When we set one of those, if you look at the bottom of the stone, you'll see on a gray stone, you'll see a strip of gray. You'll see a strip of gray underneath the stone. That's a compound that we put underneath the stone. So when we drop it onto the base, it sticks together and it doesn't move, doesn't twist or anything like that. But if water's underneath there and it doesn't seal properly, that water will freeze, especially in the wintertime. That water will freeze, and then it'll start to expand, and then a whole bunch of problems.
Yeah,
You're like
just moving everything around, and
like about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, we had to go up to Geneva and totally reset something because it had not sealed properly.
That's what I was going to ask, if you've had to like called out because it's like sank or shifted or whatever, and you got to go back and redo everything.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there are places. We deliver everywhere from here to Youngstown down to Canton, out west all the way. I've gone all the way out to Sandusky. I've gone out to Marblehead.
Mm-hmm.
So like we're very large.
Kind of everywhere.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
Yeah.
So
are you going like south, like towards like Columbus area, or you guys kind of have like a cutoff in your bubble?
We do have a cutoff. We won't go that far south.
Maybe like Akron.
We service Akron.
Okay.
We do a lot of Akron.
Akron, Cuyahoga Falls, that kind of general area.
Yep. Like I said, we go down to Canton. We go to Youngstown. We do business with a couple cemeteries closer to Columbus, but we'll just do the stone, and then their maintenance crew will drive up and pick up the stone.
Okay.
So we're not driving all the way. I think it's Marion.
Marion, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's a cemetery we deal with a lot that's in Marion, but the guys from Marion will drive up. So because I think it's a 2-hour one-way trip, almost 2-hour one-way trip.
Yep.
And then if you have 4 or 5 stones, you're looking at that's 4 hours just of drive time. Yeah, that's not worth it for us to go out and do because it's just not the best use of our time.
So are they like, when you're ready to like deliver them to the site, are they like wrapped up, and then you sort of like bubble wrap, cardboard, anything of that sort? Or you just kind of just lay them in? Are you in like a box truck? Like what are we?
It's a flatbed truck.
Okay, flatbed.
Yeah, it's a flatbed that has a crane on the back of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes way more sense.
Yeah, we have a crane so it's a flatbed truck with a crane attached to the back of it.
Okay.
And then depending upon what kind of stones they are, depends upon how we load the truck. The bigger like if we have big stones, we'll actually ratchet them to the headboard.
Okay.
On the flatbed.
Yeah.
So that they're not moving around. They're ratcheted to the truck. Especially like we had to pick up one today when we had a ratchet. That had to have been at least 3,000 pounds because it was a heavy.
Yeah.
Like we actually had to move. We had the truck positioned, and then we actually had to move the truck because the monument was so heavy that the crane where we had the truck couldn't lift the stone off the base for us to get it back to the truck, to take it back to the shop, to repaint it and do the things that we have to do to it. So we have to reposition the truck, get it closer to the monument so it could actually pick it up.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so there's little things that you're never going to think of.
No, it is, and that does, and like that sucks because Cleveland's, we can get all 4 seasons in one day.
Yeah.
So that does suck, to have to.
Today was so easy because having nice weather like it was today makes it so much easier.
Yeah,
makes it so much easier.
Yeah, my job, we're also weather based, so when we had those rain days, that fucking stops production, man.
Yeah,
sucks.
It does suck, but You just got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to put your head down and do it.
And it's also one of those, like when you're like you're like trying to like schedule out kind of for like the week and kind of see how things are going, right? Like, oh shit, we might have a rain day on Wednesday and all that, but like, dude, meteorologist has got to be the best fucking job ever, right?
Oh yeah.
You could be wrong and still make a shit ton of money. No one's gonna fire you. It's like, I don't know, it's the weather. What are you gonna do?
Meteorologist and baseball player, I think, are the only two professions where you could be under 30% satisfactory at your job and still keep your job.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Like,
I didn't even think of it from the baseball aspect of it, but yeah.
Think about that. The best players in baseball only hit the ball 30% of the time.
Yeah.
Like,
especially if you're just swinging at all of them just to fucking try to crank out a homie.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know. Anyway, this is not a baseball talk.
Yeah, we'll dive into that to like another time.
That's maybe for when I come back.
Yeah. Is there any like and maybe not, just maybe it's kind of probably just like a regular production, but is there any sort of like bonuses or incentives about getting like an X amount of like stones done? Like back when you were like still doing like on the engraving side of things.
We don't do that there.
No,
it's
nothing.
just
hey, this is your job. Just kind of
this is your pay.
Yeah,
this is your
Gotcha.
There's no incentive base like of getting, because it's not, like I said before, like when we were talking about missing letters and things like that. It's not about getting it out fast.
Yeah,
it's not. It's
no, it's not. Yeah,
it's not, because it's
don't want you to rush. You need your perfection.
Well, they pay a lot of money,
depending
upon what the size of the stone is. They're paying a lot of money for these things.
Especially if they're custom ordered.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Intricate designs, different things like that. So you want to make sure you're taking your time. You want to make sure you're going over and making sure you're going over everything and making sure you're doing it right, because you don't want to fuck it up. You don't want to you don't want to have a $2,500 mishap or how much ever it is. I'm not good on the cost of everything, but yeah, you don't want to have those mishaps.
Yeah.
So if you can not have those by just taking your time a little bit slower, take your time a little bit slower. And I think that's good with everything. But
it's like the right kind of person to be able to just kind of like focus in and concentrate and just try to make sure the best you possibly can to like not fuck anything up.
Yeah. There's I've had some coworkers that don't have
that skill, I guess, if you want to call it.
I guess it's a skill. I say patience.
Okay.
Don't have the patience for this job.
Oh no.
Yeah. Because it's, I don't know. Especially, it's just, you have to have a little patience. You have to have a little empathy. There's a lot of different emotions you have to have. Doing this type of job. And then at the end of the day, in my opinion, you have to remember it's not about you.
Yep.
No matter what you do, it's not about you. It's about that family.
Right.
Because that's who we're
You're
servicing.
doing it for,
Yeah, that's who we're servicing. We're servicing those families. That's who we're doing it for.
Yeah. And I feel like you're going to look at it in two different ways, whether you're going to find it as this is just a cool kind of style of art, so to speak, or it's tedious. You know what I mean? Like you're kind of...
I think it's a delicate balance of both. Honestly.
I'm sure you have days you're like, this is just fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, every job has those days. Yeah. Like I said, those, and there's little on the delivery side. There's little intricacies, as you guys were talking to somebody a couple weeks ago on the cemetery side of it. There's intricacies with every cemetery we go to, and that can be challenging.
Especially, in what way?
So say like we're making. I'll use Youngstown for an example. Say we're going out to Youngstown. There are a lot of those cemeteries that are like township cemeteries.
Okay.
Where there's nobody at those cemeteries.
Like they're still like pretty like empty? Is that what you mean? Or you mean
no people like me and you. Like no like help. Like there's nobody sitting at that cemetery waiting for us to get there. It's just a cemetery on the side of the road as you're driving down whatever state route from Canton to Youngstown. And then we'll get there sometimes. We've gotten better because as me and my delivery partner Will, as we've gotten to start doing this with each other, we started talking like, okay, what do we need to do our job better? Okay, well, we need to make sure before we leave every day that we have grave locations. Because sometimes, especially in these smaller cemeteries, we might not have the grave location.
Oh.
So we're like,
So wait, so like you're showing up and then they don't know like exactly where you're supposed to.
set the stone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like I said, it's gotten better. We've gotten some of these sales associates to make sure that, hey, you got to be getting this information.
Yeah.
For us. Especially in the summertime when we're again Youngstown, because the reason why I talk about Youngstown so much and because there's so many cemeteries that are like 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. So all those 6, 7, 8 times a day, you're driving 20 minutes in between cemeteries.
Mm-hmm.
That turns an 8-hour day into a 11-hour day.
Yeah.
And I've set stones in the dark.
Oh, wow.
That is not fun.
No, I can imagine
That
so.
is not fun. I've had my phone out with my flashlight trying to find things.
Yeah.
Now we have spotlights, like we have a spotlight on the truck.
Yeah.
But if we can get the grave locations from the sales associates and different things before we get out to the cemeteries, it's better for us.
Yeah. You would think that they would have someone that goes, okay, we have a delivery that's coming today. They said expectancy around, I don't know, noon, right?
Yeah.
Let's go out there. Let's flag the spot or whatever the case is so they know exactly where to drop the stone or what have you.
I wish it was that easy.
Yeah, you would think.
You would think.
Yeah, and then you get to those spots, and especially if these ones where you're like, hey, there's no one there, like on site. It's not like you have like, well, who the fuck do I call?
Well, a lot of times you just call the sexton.
Oh, okay.
That's what in case you didn't know, that's what a cemetery. The person who runs the cemetery is called a sexton.
A sexton?
Yes.
Like SEXTON?
Yes.
Amazing. I
Yes.
did not know that.
Yes.
Actually, I have a friend, that's their last name.
Really?
Yeah, the last name is Sexton.
Yeah. That's the person who runs the cemetery is called a sexton.
No fucking shit. I'm gonna message them later after the show and see if they knew that.
Yeah. That's what the person who takes care of a cemetery is called a sexton.
Huh.
Yeah. So a lot of times we'll call the sexton, hopefully during business hours, so that they pick up their phone.
Yep.
Because a lot of times we just have their office numbers.
So
So if it's past 4 or 5 o'clock, and
like I clocked out, not my problem. I'll deal with it tomorrow.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then as we were talking about before, like with the pre-needs,
Uh-huh.
we deliver pre-needs. So we go to a cemetery, we don't have a grave location. Now we don't even have a fresh grave to look for.
Explain what the pre-needs was again.
So a pre-need is a stone that is for somebody that has not passed away yet.
Okay.
So like say I purchased a stone
Yep.
and I want it delivered to the cemetery, it would be called a pre-need stone
Okay.
because I'm not passed away yet.
Yep. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's even a trickier situation because at least if we look at the stone that's made and we can see a 2024 death date, like especially now that it's June. So from June,
I mean,
from the
2025.
yes, but so
Yeah.
say from June of 24 to June of 25, as long as the death date was in those 12 months,
Okay.
a lot of times we can notice the ground,
Okay.
and depending upon the cemetery, we can tell. Okay, well that might be it over there because that's a fresher plot.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it's in the last 3 months, like it's going to be dirt.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
going to be freshly turned dirt. So we're going to know, okay, it's either that one, that one, that one, or that one. Like we can pick it out at least. Okay, you take those 3, I'll take those 4. Like,
Yeah.
and then we can like kind of flash it out and see. Okay,
Figure it out.
figure out where we're at, and then there's a lot of times where when we get to these cemeteries, also, it'll be an inclined hill. And if we can't get that truck up to the gravesite, we just have a dolly.
Oh no.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. At least there's 2 of you.
yeah. But he's running the crane, so
Oh yeah.
hi.
Just a little old me.
Yeah. As Jessie said last night at the bar, she's like, Aaron, you look like you've lost a little weight. I was like, I have.
I'm doing weights, I guess, kind of.
I do a little bit of weightlifting every day.
Yeah. Get my steps in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I stopped wearing a counter, but yeah, I can't imagine like on a long delivery day, I can't imagine the steps that I get in. I really don't want to know. I really don't want to know.
Now you went from like etching to delivery, like production to delivery, and you don't have to say I don't need you to, but was there a difference in pay going from production to delivery?
Not currently, no.
Okay.
Not currently, no.
I didn't know if they're just kind of like, hey, everything's the same. You're just switching
No,
positions, or there's a bump and or pay or anything like that.
No, we're even though we're a large scale company, we're a small employee sized company. We don't have that many employees.
Okay.
I think
That probably actually makes for the better.
Yeah, I think in the shop total we have 6 or 7 guys. That's it, and that includes me. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With there's only 8 guys in the shop.
Okay, gotcha.
And then 2 of us are out on deliveries every day. So that really puts 6. And the one guy, all he does is hand etchings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he's strictly just hand etching.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And I would suggest anybody to go up to especially like a large stone that has like a black stone that has like a white picture. I'm sure you've seen them in the cemeteries before that has like a whiter picture on the black stone.
Yep.
Walk up right onto it and look at it, because you will see, especially if it's a hand etching one, that this gentleman, his name's Peter, he literally just taps.
Like a chisel hammer situation?
Chisel and a hammer. He
Wow.
taps. And if you get up, I didn't look at this until about 2 weeks ago. I'm like, okay, let me look at these. And I got up right on the stone and I looked at it. And I turned to my partner, Will. I'm like, have you looked at it this close? Like, looked at it. Like, he's like, it's impressive, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah, the closer you get to it, you're like, holy hell.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a fucking art form.
Oh, he's had articles written about, this man's had articles written about him. Like, he's impressive. He's an impressive.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Have you ever, when you're like on deliveries, you're like, oh yeah, we delivered to like the same cemetery multiple times. Do you ever come across any that you've etched previously?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we know. Yeah, you know what's our company and what's not.
No, I just meant like you specifically, like I did this one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, especially within the last, like I said, I did all of last. I blasted the stones all of last year, but I'm like, oh, I know I did that one. Oh, I know I did that one. Oh, hey, I remember delivering that one. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I've been there for just over 2 years now. So yeah, I'm especially going on this delivery route. I'm like starting to remember all these stones that I did. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Have you ever like tried to like slip in and sort of like tiny little like, I don't want to say like signature or something, just be like something that you just know like that was yours?
No.
I mean, it's probably for the better. It'd probably be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, because
I guess that's kind of rude.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was thinking about it. As you asked me that, I'm like, it's kind of rude.
Yeah.
Because like,
as I was saying it, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, okay, never mind.
I mean, I get if it was like a piece of, like an art, like a piece of art that you're delivering to like a school or something like that. But this is somebody's headstone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like I was talking about before. Like why I like to go out on the road, like to give them final closure. I don't want to mess up any of that.
Of course.
You know, that
you're a good person, so you're not going to try to fucking.
I try.
I feel like that is.
I try to be.
That's like a dickish thing to do.
It can be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just, we're doing something nice for these families. You know, they're going through hard enough times as it is. And that's why, again, like, take your time. That's that was hard for me to learn there. Just take your time. Especially like with deliveries, just take your time. Make sure we're doing it right.
Yeah, especially you don't want anything to fucking break.
We got one shot.
Everything's already said and done.
Yeah, we got one shot. Well, that happened to us. When was that? That was maybe October, November. We were out in Medina setting a stone. And it was a special ordered stone color, this green color, specially ordered green color. And we got the base of this off the truck. We get it in place. We get it on the foundation. We have carpeted wood underneath it. And my partner Will goes to lift it up. I pull the carpeted wood out. Okay, set the one side. Fine. Go do the other side. Pull the carpeted wood out. He drops it like we're supposed to drop it. And all of a sudden, you just hear it cracked right in half.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Cracked right in half.
Fuck.
So we're me and Will were talking. We're thinking there was already a fault crack in that,
Yeah.
and so as soon as it hit that concrete, it just split right in half, like
Yeah.
two pieces.
There
Like,
was already
perfect.
some sort of pressure crack or whatever in there. Yeah.
Yeah, there was definitely a crack already in it, but it's good to know that last week we went and we got a new one and set it, and it's at the cemetery. So
Nice.
the family's happy. So
Was there any time, like any point, like when you're on the production side of things, that like last minute orders? Was that ever a thing?
Oh yeah, we'll get rushes. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Unfortunately, there are times where people drop the ball. You know, that happens in life.
Mhm.
You know, people do drop the ball. Yeah, and a lot of times we'll get something that's a rush. A lot of times what we'll get rushes for are Mother's Day, Father's Day, or birthdays. So say somebody's coming up on their birthday of maybe they've been passed away for a year and their birthday's coming up and their stone's not quite ready, we might have to put a rush on it. So there's different things that we'll do and different things like that it might just get pushed to the front of the pile. Like I said, if it's Mother's Day, Father's Day, different things like that we have to put a rush on it and
Yeah.
get things out a little faster than we normally would or push it to the front of the pile. But I also understand those requests because they want to go visit the gravesite on those times, and so we try to accommodate the best we can.
I mean, that's awesome though. To actually just kind of like, I mean, I guess as a business, you should be trying to do everything to satisfy the customer, but especially in this field, you know. But
Yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah.
Because like, when you get last minute orders or whatever, however you want to take it in any job that you're in, it sucks.
Yeah.
Any way you look at it.
Yeah.
So, especially something that this is much more, I don't want to say dramatic, but like much more, I don't know, just, you know, it's dealing with someone's,
personal.
yeah,
Just much more personal.
yeah, someone's, you know, death of a family member,
Yeah.
you know.
It's personal to them, and I think for us, I think it's important that we do take it that way, like almost for us to take it personal, because we're putting craftsmanship onto what that family will look at and remember that person by for the rest of their lives. So,
Yep.
yeah, if we can just take a little time and just make sure we're doing everything right, it's better for us in the long run.
Yeah. Just a little twist here. If you could create, like on the production side, etch in a headstone for any fictional character or celebrity, who would you choose?
Well, being as your listeners may know that I'm a big Star Wars fan, if they remember and saw my
So that hasn't came out yet.
oh,
but
I'm sorry.
No,
people.
that's okay.
I'm
No, no.
sorry. Give a little teaser.
Yeah, there you go. A little teaser. I think we might have made mentions of it, but yes, there is going to be a YouTube exclusive video coming out here shortly, where we kind of have like a trivia game for people to win drinks and shots. So Aaron was actually our first participant.
Yes, it was.
But they will definitely find out that you are a Star Wars fan. But
Yes.
Go on, proceed.
So I would actually have to say I would love to do a headstone for Darth Vader.
Oh,
I don't know why. I would just love to make a headstone for him. Whether that because I don't know what design would you put on it. Would you do half Vader, half Anakin? How would you go about that?
Well, what if he let you? He said. So what if this is what did you call it, like a pre-need?
Yeah.
Okay, so he gave you full creative control of designing his headstone. How do you think that you would do it?
Oh, it would definitely be a custom piece.
Well, yeah, it's something like. So, are you going to go that route with like half Vader, half Anakin? Are you? Are you going to do like a skull and crossbones, but with sabers and his mask? That'd actually be a really cool tattoo if you're a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Vader's mask with the two sabers crossing, like a skull and crossbones.
Yeah, that would
probably be sick.
That would be sick. But I think as far as like the headstone to be, I would if I could do it, I would make. I don't think you could do this, but almost like fuse two different stones together.
Okay.
Half black, half gray. Would most likely be the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But like half black, half gray, and then you put his helmet on the one side, and then just a face on the other,
mm-hmm.
and then just to show the split. I think that would be really cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like yeah, you would have like free creative control and like money wasn't an issue.
Yeah.
Oh, so then, if you're like
if money's no issue,
yeah,
I'm creating a special stone. I'm straight up creating a special stone where it's 2 colors, like, yeah. Because I think for
the
him,
duality.
I think it would show his duality perfectly, like his struggle and just how he's going from the light side to the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you're trying to go for a circle, how do you loop it back? You know what I mean? So like, do you do something of a circle and like, I don't know. That would be a process to sit. And, like, sit and think about.
Draw it out.
Yeah.
Would there be a quote that you would put across there?
I don't know if I would put any of his quotes on his actual headstone.
Okay.
No, I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think that's the type of person. I don't think he needs to be. As soon as you see the headstone, I don't think it doesn't need to have a quote on it.
And I don't know how you're also going to try to be able to like write a quote out for like. That'd probably be harder to turn out.
It would be. But another cool fact of what we're starting to do, we're actually starting to put QR codes into. They're not etched into the stone, but they're on the stone.
No shit.
Oh yeah, so you just the QR code is on the stone, and then you just scan the QR code, and then a lot of times it's either a photo montage or a video or something that the family has created with
memorial website, something along those lines.
Those lines. You just scan it, and it pops up and brings up everything.
Interesting.
So
that is not something that I would ever think that would be on headstones,
never thought it would be, but. About 3 months ago, I was like, what is that? They're like, oh, that's a QR code. And I'm like, yeah, I know it's a QR code, but what's it doing on the headstone? They're like, oh, this, and this. And I'm like, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then also what a lot of cemeteries are starting to do is in sections, they're putting a QR code like on the marker of the section, and then you can scan it, and then you can then it brings up a profile, and then you put your person's name in, and then it'll take you straight to the gravesite. So you don't have people just walking around in circles, especially like if you haven't been to somebody's gravesite in a long time.
Yeah.
And you can't exactly remember where it's at. That can be a pain. Because I know that, again, from delivering, trying to find in these fields, like, and especially if it's not a field that doesn't have a lot of people in it yet.
Yep.
You could be walking, and I'm like, oh, like I've walked over sites, not thinking it's where I'm supposed to go or different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we could be walking in the field for 20 minutes.
Jeez.
So like I said, those QR codes come in handy. Like a lot of things, any extra help we can get at these cemeteries comes in super handy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. The way of the world nowadays.
It's
got QR codes on your gravestones.
Yeah. Well, in 30, 40 years, when I pass away, it'll probably be QR code and then a hologram freaking pops up.
Yeah,
you know
probably.
I mean? That's the way we're going. So
you're not wrong, dude.
I know. Yeah. That's the way we're going.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're pretty much there at the end of the episode, man.
Cool.
Is there anything that you?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know if there's anything else that you're wanting to throw out there that I didn't bring up.
I don't know.
I feel like I was trying to ask all the questions I could. I don't know if there's.
Like I said, it's intricate. So there's a lot of things like I didn't know this until about a month ago. We actually have to have a license to go into these cemeteries.
Oh.
Like we have to have a delivery license to go into cemeteries.
From the company, or do you have to do something as an employee to go
the company does.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not individual employees, it's the company. So the company will have to have a license to go into some of these cemeteries.
Do you have to show hey?
No, they have it in file on the office.
Okay.
So the office knows. Like a lot of these places know.
Which is wild. Wow, what do you need a license for?
I don't know. I can't answer that question.
That sounds like bullshit, just extra money that's going in someone's pocket.
Were you born yesterday? That's everything.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
that's everything.
Not wrong. Yeah, fair enough. Well, thanks for listening, guys. I hope you guys found this as intriguing as I did. This is super fun, and
it's actually a lot of fun to talk about.
Yeah, no, this is again, this is not something that it even crossed my mind that this was someone's job. I mean, obviously it is, but it's just one of those things you just don't think about. Unless you're a person that spends a lot of time walking through cemeteries, maybe it crosses your minds. And I do enjoy Jess and I when we go out of state or other countries, and they're like, oh, this is a famous cemetery or
Yeah.
these people are buried. And we're like, yeah, let's go walk through. Like, it's cool, you know, like,
Yeah.
and it's neat to just see the monuments and everything else. And
Yeah, it's there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of cool cemeteries we go to. Like the DeBartolo family that owns the 49ers.
okay.
There's the cemetery in Youngstown where their family mausoleum's at. It's bigger than some of the houses in Lakewood.
No shit.
Oh yeah, it's huge.
Can imagine. So
It's huge. No pun intended there.
is there anybody famous or relatively kind of famous-ish like headstones you had ever had to do like in production side or deliver?
No, not famous people. No, I've
no
never.
celebrity.
No celebrity. No, I mean I've walked past Ryan Dunstone 1,000 times delivering out to Brecksville.
Oh yeah,
But that's. I mean,
yeah.
there's
He's
a couple-
from here.
Yeah, but I mean I've seen it, but we didn't do it, and
Yeah.
it was in way before I started working. But I mean, yeah. So that's
How does it look? Is it like
It's normal.
just
It's-
a normal headstone? Okay,
Yeah, it's
nothing
just-
crazy.
It's nothing crazy. And as time's gone on, I think less and less people go visit it. But
Yeah, sure. I
yeah.
feel like that's kind of like the sad part of death is somebody passes away and everyone's so heartbroken and so
Yeah.
sad it happens and everyone's 100% in, but as time passes, there's less and less people showing up for like I have a friend that's passed away in like 2003 and actually like 2006. And I have friends that we go out and celebrate his birthday every year.
Good.
It's a tight,
yeah,
5-6 of us. And we get his family involved, kind of a little thing. But I have other friends that have passed away much more recently. And there used to be like an annual, hey, we're going out for this person's birthday. Let's all get together. Let's grab drinks. And less and less people are showing up, and it's like people are forgetting. And it's just, it is sad because, it's, people want to be like, hey, after I die, I hope you guys like remember me, and then you eventually
there's
start living your normal life and forgetting,
Yeah, that happens a lot. And then you also start to, at least I start to think, like as I'm walking the cemeteries, on a weekly basis now, you see somebody's gravestone, they passed away, say in 1935 or whatever it is. I don't think anybody goes to see those people anymore.
Yeah.
Visit those people, things like that, because they passed away in 1935. Their relatives either have moved out of the area, and that's a lot of things that we get too. That we'll get older family members that pass away, and the person that purchases them are in Florida, Texas, California.
Yeah.
So the kids have already moved
Shifted
away,
off and done their
shifted
own
off,
lives,
gone
yeah.
out of Ohio, and you have burials here in Ohio, and it's like, well, they're probably never going to get visited, and it's sad.
It is kind of sad.
And then
they come here for the actual funeral, and then they go back home, and
Yeah.
then that's that.
Yep. Yeah. So and like I said, as I look at these people that have passed away almost 100 years ago, and it's like, yeah, I bet nobody comes to see those graves anymore.
Yeah.
So
Because even like out of their like the friends and all, like the older family, they've already passed on as well.
Yeah, friends, older family, yeah, all passed away. So yeah, it's if you think about it, that's sad, but that's part of life though too. So as we just keep on moving on.
Yep. Well, dude, thanks again for coming on. It's a little cheers. Yeah.
It was so much fun. I can't believe an hour passed.
I know, right? It goes by so fucking fast.
It does, and I'm not gonna lie to people. I was nervous. He asked me if I was nervous. I was like, nah, not really, but I was nervous.
Did the shot help?
A little bit. Yeah, shots always help.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to tell you. Like, it's a little nervous, a little nerve-wracking at first,
Yeah.
but you get in, we're just talking.
Yeah, you just yeah. Like
Good to
I said,
go.
the hour went by so fast.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like at Pizza Pickles Pod on all the social medias. And you can always send us a text, send photos, leave us a voicemail. We'll talk about it. We'll listen to the voicemail. We'll go from there. 440-363-0121. Tomboy is not here to help me, right? Nice. Right, Tomboy? Cool. It's sorry that Tomboy's out sick this week. We miss you. We'll be back next week. Again, thanks for listening. 440-363-0121. Bye-bye.